Hi, I'm Sid.
This is Ian.
Welcome to our podcast where we talk about the psychology behind professional development. And today's topic is one of my favorite activities to use personally and professionally. We're going to talk about the wellness wheel and how we can figure out how to balance our work and life together. Ian, what's your process of balancing it all out?
I tell you, sometimes it's just one foot in front of the other. For that to happen, balancing is an ongoing thing. So some days it works, some days it's just it takes some work to get there.
Does. It absolutely does, right? It's never the 50-50 that we always
Yeah,
hope it would be. And to me, balancing is always a dance.
right,
So many components of our life come in on a daily basis.
right. Now, sometimes I think sometimes you think balance is like a linear wire of sorts. Sometimes actually I think of it as Frogger. Kind
Like
of
that.
see, kind of like you're
Great
avoiding
reference,
all of
by
the
the way.
you're like jumping over things. You're trying to avoid the logs and the traffic to kind of
Yeah.
get to the other side. Sometimes you make it, and sometimes you get squished by a car.
Oh, yeah.
But or you miss the log
That's
and you
true.
go into the water. But I think that's what like balancing is. It's just like Frogger, and just the
Yeah.
constant movements, trying to get to the other side, and trying to avoid things. And sometimes you're going to be successful, and sometimes it's just not going to happen. You don't time it right.
My gosh, that's one of the toughest challenges, right? Trying to see the whole road. I love that
Yeah.
you brought Frogger in. For those of you that don't know Frogger, please YouTube it. It is a game for the generation. So, because you have to see like the entire board of Frogger to see if you're going up, down,
Right.
moving sideways, whichever way. And I think balancing the work and life is similar battle.
Yep.
It's never like, okay, I did my 8 hours at work. Now I get 8 hours of family and personal time and then 8 hours of sleep and I'm good.
That's right.
I would love if, I don't know if I would love it actually. If world worked that way, feels a little structured.
Yeah. Yeah. But at the same time, though, I think to your point, if you can see the whole board and then you can kind of do your best to predict what's
Yeah.
happening, if you can predict the timing, if you can predict, the logs
Right.
coming, if you can kind of predict the traffic that's coming,
Mhm.
maybe it gives you a little better way of preparing.
Yeah.
And I think that's key versus perhaps a not linear. I think is sometimes predictable, and I don't think life is that way. I don't think life is too predictable.
No, unless you're AI, maybe.
Right. Yeah.
You're so right. Like when we try to plan things in a linear fashion, things can throw us off. So let's step back a little. How do you see the entire board, the greater picture?
Yeah. Yeah. I think the best way to do that is it's funny because I have my wife and I have a calendar and we kind of activities for the day. And to establish what's going on, I think that helps with recognizing how do you see the board? Well, how do we see
Mhm.
the day?
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Having a multiple perspective of the day to see the
Right.
big picture, right? Yeah, and we also need to do that for our personal life
That's true.
and self,
Yeah.
right? So one of the things that I started using probably 15 years ago at this point. Again, I know we don't want to talk about numbers of age because that's,
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I'm a work in progress. I started using something called the wellness wheel. Have you seen this before?
I don't think I have.
Okay. So the wellness wheel is about a certain amount of components that come into our life. For me, I think that's about 12 different components that come into a person's life. You have the personal, you have the relational, and then you have the professional. And all of these have different components. So, for example, all right, I'm going to my blog because I wrote this a
Right.
little while ago, right? And anyone, if you're listening, it'll be in the description. So for personal wellness, right? Physical well-being, that's so important,
Mm.
right? Social, family and friends. What does that look like? Community, that could be spiritual or just feeling like wherever you are, you can go and belong. Emotional well-being, right? Relational. If you are partnered, that's a relationship. And of course, your free time, right? Oftentimes we forget about, well, yeah, we also need free time to just be
Sure.
us. With professional well being, that's career aspiration. Are you aligned with what you're doing? If you're a trophy husband, right? Are you doing your trophy husband responsibilities? If you are an executive, are you doing executive level work? Financial, are you being compensated for what and how you're contributing to your livelihood,
Right.
right?
And this
To your
can be
organization.
and this can be
Yeah.
accessed, right? And you can link, and there'll be a link provided to
Yeah.
access this, and it can be visualized to go into the
Yes.
different components of the wheel.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. It can, and it's interactive. So one of the things that I'm going to share is go back to Q2 because we're almost 2 weeks away from ending quarter 2 of this year, and ask yourself, how satisfied was I in each of these components of the wheel, right? For example, for me, it's been raining a little bit this month. I'm not very happy with it. It keeps me away from my golf courses, which is my physical well-being and mental well-being and relational all
Oh
combined.
my gosh.
So I'm like, oh, come on, I need to go golf. I say this because when we aren't taking care of the things that are in the net negative and we're over investing in the net positive. So for example, since it's been raining, I've been doing more of the online conversations, networking, things like that, that keeps me at home, sadly, because it's raining and I don't want to get wet,
Right.
right? But then my exercise is at a low because, again, it's raining and I can't play golf. So how do we figure out how to balance the two? And I think, in a previous conversation, Yin, you mentioned the top golf.
Yeah. I mean, there's places out there you can just kind of go and golf, even though it's not going to be your 9 or 18, but at least you can have a substitution where you have at least the activity itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, again, it's on a smaller scale and it's not the same experience. However, it is golf adjacent, if you will.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
And my reaction to that is like, and we're joking about this at the same time. Like oftentimes finding a compromise is what it's about. That dance, the Frogger movement, right? Are we going backwards? Are we going to side, going forward? What does that look like? And I don't know if you do this, but when I'm just in it, it's one step in front of the other. Let's
right?
get through it. Right. It really is when I step back and review the quarter, right? How satisfied was this? How balanced was my life and my career, right? Is one overpowering another, or you know what? I'm really enjoying this dance.
I mean, only you're the one who are kind of measuring yourself. So if there's
Yeah.
one area that's overpowering another, is that bad? Or maybe it's just yourself telling you that the situation is this a good
Mhm.
situation or a bad situation, and why?
Right. And why? And this is where if we give ourselves permission to reflect back and plan for the future, right? I think this is such an important tool to help us create a smoother and more balanced life,
Right.
right? Every time I talk about this exercise with a client, I talk about it as a car,
Mm,
right?
okay.
Uh, the way I see it is, hey, you could be driving, choose whatever vehicle. It's probably going to have four wheels if it's a car. Now imagine if one of the tire is busted. You can still keep going forward. This is a
Mm,
lot of people in life do this. It's like,
yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
really bad.
but so many of us will feel drained in different aspects of our life, but we just keep going one foot in front of the other. Right? Just keep moving forward. Imagine because you're doing that, you're putting pressure on the other three tires,
Right.
additional pressure, and you're also not going as fast as you
Right.
could be.
You're dragging a lot.
You are. So you're compromising the other three tires and your speed. Now, if you don't address it, another tire is going to bust, and that's going to create more drag. You can still go with two tires. It's never advisable. Please don't do this. It's
Right.
one. Neither am I.
But more of a physics situation. Might want to get those taken care of.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen some people on the highway driving their tire busts.
Hmm.
Right? It's not just they're tired, they're holding so many people back at that point. At the same time, they're doing damage to the road, which is
Right.
gonna and if you've lived in Atlanta, you know about the potholes we have, right? The damage to the road. It's gonna take at least 5 to 10 years before that gets addressed.
Right.
I don't know if that's accurate.
It's a
It
good
does feel like a
guesstimation.
long
It does feel like a long time.
and this is where if we just take the take the time to check our tire gauge. Most modern cars will have that indicator of like, all the pressures look fine. You don't have to worry about it, right? But when something is low, go to your nearest store and fill it up. We do that with cars. Are we doing that with ourselves? This episode is sponsored by Balanced at Last, my coaching services. That's balancedatlast.com. If you are curious about how I can help you, please schedule a free consultation call, a 20-minute call to assess your challenges and ways my services can help you. Mention you are a podcast listener and receive 20% off your coaching services. Offer valid for a limited time. Visit balancedatlast.com or scan the QR code on your screen or click the link in the description below. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, probably
And
not.
most of the time,
Probably not.
yeah, yeah, I know I don't,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
tough to
I
make
don't see
that
it
time.
happening. Yeah, it really is. I think that it's challenging to go inward.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned this before, is it it takes a certain, not so much a personality, but it takes the mindset to say, or to do that internal gauge, and it's so much
Hmm.
easier to not do that. It's so much easier to say, this is a challenge, to see what I can look at my phone, or this is a
Right.
challenge, let me see what's on TV. And
Yeah.
I think that the screens overpower, sometimes, internal
Hmm.
thought, or time to do things internally.
Yeah.
So I think that's why, to your point, I don't think we do the tire gauge, so to speak,
Right.
because I think now we're in a place where we're not really, conditioning ourselves to do that.
We're not. We're not. And, I like that you put in technology, right? Before the cars could tell us which tire needed air, right? You would have to just do your inspection
Yourself,
probably once a week, once a month,
right?
making sure that all the tires look evenly even. I haven't done that since I've gotten a modern car. I
Yeah.
rely
I
on
can
the
tell. Well, I can tell my car that it'll give me the diagram, and it'll give me the PSIs
yeah,
for each tire. So
yeah.
if there is a problem, then
Hmm.
I can deal with it. But to the point of, you won't do it yourself because it's being done for you, in essence.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. We are outsourcing that part of who we used to be for the convenience of, I don't have to do this.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And sadly, there's nothing in our life, in our current technology, that allows us to do that for our lives. What a shame. We have to do the hard work of introspection. But before we can get there, we have to build in the time to do the introspection,
Yep. That's
right?
right.
And we have to negotiate with our variety of responsibilities before we can build that time for ourselves
Right.
to do the introspection. Right. And if we have the convenience of technology and social media and TV, we also have to say, it's not TV time right now. It's not social media time right now.
Right.
Right. There's a lot before we can really create time for ourselves to do the introspection,
And so I
to
think this
make
wheel
that
will help.
modification.
And I think this wheel, to your point, will help, because it kind of, forces you, in essence, or it
Yes,
will put you in a space where you need to do it. And then
absolutely.
once it gets started, then it becomes absolutely easier, because it's interactive. I've done it, it's interactive, and it's nice little visual, when you put the
Yeah.
numbers in different areas, and it's a good place
Yeah.
to start, to what worked for you, what didn't work for you, and
Right.
it's a solid tool. It really is.
It is. And, I'll tell you, like, take 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Just take 5 minutes, reflect on the last 2 weeks. If you're just getting started with this, reflect on the last 2 weeks. You don't have to do the entire quarter, and put a number. If it's fully satisfied, it couldn't be any better. Put a 10, right? If it's, I didn't even think about thinking about this. If you're in that,
Hmm.
right? Maybe
Yep.
it's a zero, maybe it's a one.
Yep.
You're not as satisfied, right? And build it out. Takes the first time probably 5 minutes, second time probably 30 seconds. But if you can do this every 2 weeks, you can figure out like, okay, these are some of the places where I have the net positive, and these are some of the places where I have the net negative.
Right.
And how can we get it into a workable stance where it's almost as even as it can be, while creating momentum to move forward.
Yeah, I think that again, it's just putting that one foot ahead of the other.
Yeah, it is. It is. But taking that step back, 5 minutes step back, right? Just with the car. do the, don't go directly to the driver's seat
Right.
if you're driving, right? If you're driving, go with the passenger seat and then do a full loop before you get into the driver's seat.
It's just that easy.
Again, I am guilty of not doing that. It does. It does. So I am looking at the time. I know we're doing a shorter episode today because I really want people to start utilizing this tool so they can feel empowered to change the way they're looking at life
Right.
and also be more intentional on how they're improving their career along with their life.
Yeah.
Because when all four tires are fully rotated, right? Put air in there, you're just zooming by. It's such a comfortable ride, comfortable journey. And life works the same way. When we start balancing things out, tweaking things so it's all within that comfortable area, life gets easier.
I think also what helps the situation is that same thing with a car when you're bringing it in to a professional to kind of
Mhm.
look at tires and to fix it and to, adjust accordingly and to get new tires. Same thing with yourself and that metaphor of you need to see a professional to help you with
Yeah.
certain areas. You need to bring yourself in, essentially, kind
I
of get
do.
looked at, get checked on, and to, fix certain things.
Yeah. No, I love that you put that in there because we take our car for maintenance, right?
Mhm.
We take ourselves for maintenance sometimes when it's physical health,
Right.
right? When it's emotional, psychological, and professional support. I just spoke with somebody that said like, I didn't even know this type of service existed. Like, oh, yep, we are here. We are here to make sure that you get the most out of your career, your job, your life, and make sure you're living the best life you can.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Last words again.
No, I would say just to utilize that wheel and hopefully it gives you some understanding as to where you currently are and you got to start somewhere and I think that's a great first step to figuring out what you need to work on.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Thanks so much for joining this episode.
Thanks, have a good one.
And thank you so much for joining us and being part of the conversation. We hope this episode has given you some insight on your journey to a more balanced and fulfilling career. Please find Beyond the 9 to 5, a balanced career on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll be back in 2 weeks with a new episode. Thank you for joining us.